that far.
All right, guys. Well, we are ready for the face-off, so the captains are going to join us.
Hey.
Zoned, Aggressor, how are you guys doing today?
Hey. Good, how are you?
Pretty good. All right, Zone, we'll start with you. I talked to you earlier, and you felt that you guys stood a pretty good chance versus Dare, especially since you have a bunch of their former teammates on your team. You know, you guys, you're new to the league. Dare have been around for a while. They're a veteran team. You guys are still coming up. Why do you think that this early on you guys can stand a chance and take points off them tonight?
We put a lot of practice and time in the offseason. We made some really important roster change moves. We have, obviously a lot of former team members from that team, which is kind of funny, but we have a lot of guys with experience, calling experience. So I think we put a lot of time and effort in, so I'm hoping for a good result tonight.
All right, fair enough. Now, Aggressor, last time we talked to you, you mentioned that you guys were really disappointed after the last season finals. It didn't go the way you wanted it to. You missed out on the trip to the grand finals, so you guys were really disappointed. And you guys have come back this season with a new attitude, and so far it seems to be the case. However, are you happy with where you're at right now, or do you think there's still room to improve?
There's always room to improve, We're a little bit sloppy with some of our pushes. Some focus fire needs some work. We're way better than what we were last season. So constant improvement is what I see happening, and that's really good for us.
Okay. How much more do you think you need to improve to be able to say take elevate on comfortably?
That's hard to say. But
he put you on the spot, man. He's got it.
Yeah. I feel as if we just keep practicing. Elevate, they're so good because they practice. Like that is why they're so good. They have player skill and they practice a lot. And I'm sure if we put in that time, right, we're starting to do a lot of practicing. We're starting to put a lot of that work in, and I feel like we can get to that point. It's really going to come down to that how practice goes, I guess.
All right, last question back to you, Zoned. So you did mention earlier that Ellie will not be playing this week, and that you guys are looking to Vale to pick up the slack. Do you feel that he's up to the task?
I do. He played with us all through Server League season, and so we know how he plays. He plays well. And then he's a former MV member, so some of the guys that are on Dare might know him. He's a great player. He's a great guy, so I'm sure that he will do very well in Ellie's footsteps.
All right. Any final words for Aggressor and Dare Rising?
Nah, good luck. Have fun, guys.
All right. Aggressor, any final thoughts for F7?
Good luck, man. Hopefully my players don't give you my old strats,
All right, guys. We'll see you on the battlefield in just a few minutes.
See ya. Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
That's pretty good. That's a good point, though, with all these former teammates. There's 3 of them over on F7 now, including Chase Potato, who was Dare Rising's old caller.
I mean, there's something there, but at the same time, you and I both share this. We've both been callers for teams. We've both done that. But and and I guess the point is you understand how different everyone is when they're calling. Like,
oh, yeah.
You may have played under someone, and that gives you quite a bit of insight, no joke. But that still doesn't give you exactly what's going on in their head. Yeah, give enough time, and they'll turn it around.
Yeah, there's cases where you can hand one caller, one of the strats that you've worked on. You said, this is how you do it. And if you don't take the time to sit there and break down every single thing, they just see a bunch of little tanks on a map and just kind of like, okay, this is what you're doing. That kind of makes sense until you're in the battle, in those positions. And you're like, all right, what do I do next? And, that caller has already either run the strat a bunch of times or they've already envisioned what the next step is in their head, and they know to instantly do it.
Precisely.
Where someone in the opposite, it's kind of like, well, what do we do now? And they're going to take that time to figure out what the next play is. And that time, not necessarily that they can't figure it out, but that time that's going to take them to solve that mystery could be the difference.
Exactly. And so it's like, yeah, that you may have played on their team, but they can come up with new things, new variations. The team may have changed quite a bit. In fact, probably a big notable point is since those players were formerly on Dare, that was different meta in a different format. Not a vastly different format, but
the difference between 768 and 770 does have some little changes. Speaking of those little changes, that is the switch to 770, meaning that it is all tier 10s on the battlefield. And looking at the lineups, F7 coming in here with 2 5As, 4 bat chats, and an STR V103B. Meanwhile, Dare Rising, 2 5As and 5 bat chats. So opting for the French medium meta still.
Okay, that works. This is actually coming back to the point we were just talking about, knowing your opponent's strats. A strat like this, the 5A and bat chats, speaks to an older style meta, something that hasn't really been innovated on too much, not exactly that there's anything wrong with the approach I expect out of Dare, but that actually could be something to F7. They may actually understand what Dare is going for here. And if they can, that may allow them to parry or deflect a lot of these attacks or even counterattack.
Yep, now the meta I'm used to with bringing 2 heavy tanks is to bully the middle area, especially around E4-5, F4-5, kind of that lower area. These 5As are very quick. It kind of stopped being a thing for a while because there wasn't any heavy tanks that could get up towards that middle area quickly and not get clipped out and caught out in the open by, say, the Batchats or 140s or the light tanks. However, both these teams deciding that it's time to break out the heavy tanks again on Cliff.
Yeah, and actually a nice opener here from Dare. If you can see on the southern part of the map, Aggressor, Harmless, and Nationwide are on east side. And they're moving up the 9 line right now. And look at where they could meet an opponent. This may be zoned, Veil, taking fire from a nice sneak attack from Aggressor and Harmless and Nationwide. There we go. Zeroing in, zoned drops down. He is taking fire, 2 shells so far. Another shell hits Veil. Return fire coming in from Get Clicked On from all the way up north, and with the Sturv as well.
Some good early damage on the zone. He's down to just about 1,000. Get Clicked On is actually in a very good spot right now. He's in some depression in the backfield, and it's going to make it really hard for these soft Batchats to get across this open field without taking some considerable damage.
There we go. That's the retreat. Harmless Aggressor decide, you know what, we've gotten up here, fine. And in the meantime, by the way, you can see that the WZs, or the Wheezies as we call them sometimes, for 5As, whatever you want to, have
retaken the middle ridge.
Precisely. And with that, that's a lot of strength in that position that otherwise could have been countered out or otherwise harassed on its way up. The Batchat's moving around to that 9 line and creating a bit of a surprise attack. What that does is distracts them from climbing and allows your guys to get in position, so simultaneously you might get a kill. So strong play from Dare, a little bit bold, I think we can agree.
Yeah, definitely bold, because look at what could have happened if, say, those Batchats did get out to the 9 line and the rest of F7 were sitting in the middle ridge. They were ready to take that fight in the middle. If they spot those Batchats out of position, that's 2 5As dead.
Yep, and looking at the top of the hill, some fire coming towards
Veil.
1, 2, 3. That's coming from, yeah, is that Veil?
That's
No.
Veil, it just took a shot of damage.
Oh, Veil taking a fire. I was looking at 1, 2, 3 as he was taking fire from the north, potentially. That's from the S-Tank, played by Spirit
Walker.
Yeah, he was blind firing in that position, took a shell. Actually, took a shell to the track. Lucky him.
Yep, not taking any damage. Managing
Look
to
at
keep
the
all his
Batchats on the
HP.
west side. See those west side Batchats coming out?
WZ's getting more aggressive right now.
Yeah, jump on, I want to watch, see what those Batchats in the west are going to do, actually. Because those guys are, well, there is plenty of stuff happening in the middle here. You see 1, 2, 3, Bird, all of them starting to look towards the northwest that way. What they're doing is they're actually, Dare is right now trying to see if perhaps there's a passive tank where there is, Halo. Halo is currently hiding in a bush, passive. Now, a shell goes in Nationwide. Yeah, he's going to back off a little bit. And right now the focus of Dare is on that grid, that Delta 3, Delta 4 little position that ultimately can't do a ton of damage, but because of its ability to spot tanks on the approach, it makes getting any real ground coverage quite a problem. And there, blind fire from 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Spirit Walker taking some damage.
Yeah, he's going, puts 1 Spirit, finishes his clip out. Doesn't look like he gets a connection or even knows if he does.
Yeah, HP's still roughly even. There's been a little bit of spread damage onto Dare, so F7 doing a good job at punishing them when they poke, trying to find those early spots. So they've made up for the poor early trades.
And in the meantime, looks like Dare is going to decide to send their Batchats back through the back line. And instead of going up the 1 line, which could be what F7 is going to expect, like they might make the call and move some forces slightly west to deal with that. They'll find out that, well, 3 Batchats have actually gone all the way to the east, taken the moment to reload, get way away from the enemy, not get spotted. This is risky, but we'll see how it goes. Rox, what do you think?
So, one thing that looks like they're going to do is they're going to try to go for a dual dump. They're going to try to take Batchats over on top to take these guys out, and at the same time push around into this 5A. What that's going to cause, that's going to make this STRV and this Batchat have to pick targets that they're going to focus out. And there's going to be 2 different brawls in 2 different areas that are going to happen. So even if one falls, the other one should survive. So let's keep an eye on that as it happens right now. Early shots going into Aggressor. 2 big shots, dropping him down to 8-17.
All right, and we're going to go ahead and listen in with Dare Rising as they make their attack for this first battle.
Got to the left.
I'm busy firing.
900, okay, 500, Dark. Let's go.
Got set on fire.
Dark.
Halo's -4.
I have 2.
Kill the guy. Kill the other bat. I reload. Push clips.
I
Push
have
clips.
4.
All right, Nation, you can come up.
I'm
and
not
hold
dead.
I'm gonna go spot the Sturf.
Go. Well, we have that. Worry about that batch out right there in the middle. Putin, can you live or no?
Okay, fine. I'm gonna go back.
He's clipping right now. Night is clipping.
What's
You
Night?
Okay, I'm gonna
Night's
go to
clipping. I can try and get him.
Sturf's lit.
Well, we're all clipping.
So busy. Have shots.
And Nation, you can't die here. All right, you just need to stay safe.
Weezy's gonna kill me.
I want to kill Knight. No.
Yeah. Rush over here, kill him,
Yeah, I am.
and we'll be fine. Harmless, just chill there.
Yep. Chase is coming up to the south side.
Nation, go. Nation, you can't. You gotta be careful about this
I
Wheezy
know.
shot.
I know.
You need
but
to
I
be
kill
careful.
Knight. Fuck, dude.
Dark, Knight is pushing.
Get down.
Aggressor, I'm gonna try to do the boost.
Disturb my shoot.
I'm not
He's
gonna
gonna
be
be
able to kill Knight.
clipped.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to kill him. I'm just gonna
Just stay
stay
safe from the
on L.
Wheezy.
Knight is. Fuck.
Fuck Harmless.
I'm getting up, Nation.
Okay. I'm so lit though. Nathan, Harmless, come here and just kill their batch out, dude. Sturf's gonna shoot you.
And we are back as F7 holding on to that defense. Dare, like I said, they tried to go for the dual push, create two separate engagements, and the WZs also pushed over the mid at the same time, trying to open up a new angle on the backside of the bat chats, but it didn't really pay off in terms of they bled so much HP. They were up on guns initially, but Spirit Walker has put 2 of them down in their place since, so overall, a very good hold from F7. I'm still not a fan of a passive defense. This is very reactionary. Not something I'm particularly fond of. However, they have made it work in this case.
It's just like mines, you know? There is a set strategy that is very hard to defeat, and if you execute it well and hold down the fort well enough as the defender, you're going to be okay. As the attacker, that's where the real problem is. It's like, where are they going to slip up, make a mistake, and let you in?
Yeah,
and F7 didn't.
My biggest problem with that is as the defender, you're essentially saying, hey, look, we know you know what we're going to run. We're just going to run it well, and we're not going to make any mistakes, and we're going to let you know for the full 10 minutes exactly what we're doing. So try to figure it out, and more often than not, some of these teams will figure it out. They'll find the magical key, twist it, and all of a sudden the door's open.
Yep, every time. Just always seems like it comes out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden you realize after looking back, oh, it was these tiny little things.
Nationwide going for the Goomba, and he's actually going to get killed by Knight. 2 minutes left on the clock, and this is not looking good for Dare Rising.
That's Spirit Walker again, by the way. He without him, that would have been a kill onto Knight. That would have been just a 1-for-1 trade. But in this case, 103 is just destroying people. I have to give him some credit here. He's done a great job at landing shells on the right tanks at the right time, and that combined with the rest of his team's ability to play well is going fairly nicely on this battle number 1. You are the defender, so you have an advantage. This isn't a big surprise that F7 has won on Cliff.
Dark Ninja does trade out onto Knight.
Nice.
Unfortunately, Spirit Walker was moving positions, had to go into or leave siege mode. Did put a shot into him as he left.
And now it's a hold. F7's got every reason to win. 1,700 hit points versus 4,000. You have to get kills without taking any damage whatsoever. Harmless, I guess, can take a shell, but that's going to have to be a shell that comes with a complete kill. Like, Chase is going to have to get obliterated, pretty much deleted by Aggressor and Dark Ninja in order for this to work.
1 minute on the clock, and Chase Potato and that 5A is still full HP.
Nah, chances are this is completely done. There's so little chance that you can do anything about this. Chase knows what's up. See, he even turned around and expected this.
And Chase Potato puts his former... Well, actually, it's not even a former teammate. Dark Ninja is a new addition to Dare Rising. Puts him in his place. Nonetheless, Aggressor's going to just drive in, get picked up by Halo, and it is all down to Harmless, who is somewhere back by the cap.
Yeah, it's an unfortunately predictable flank. If you understand that there is an option to flank out Chase and Halo, they'll go for it. But F7 knows what's up. I have to give them some credit. We've both expressed some skepticism about their ability to hold up to Dare, but this battle 1 looks good.
Yep, however, this is on defense, and like you were saying, it is a map that has a lot of set plays that a lot of teams can do, and if they can execute it well, they can make it work. And this case, holding true. They shut the door. They did win their defenses versus M60s on the last match day, so they've shown that they are competent on Cliff. So maybe some of the teams maybe want to not play them on Cliff.
Possibly.
In the future, ban it out, go to some different maps, try to see if F7 have a deep map pool or not.
Yeah, and just taking a look one more time at that battle. Focusing on first, I think, the open. So this initial attack from Dare, right? So 3 bat chats up the 9 line, try and get a sneak attack, get a kill, do whatever. And this little move on to get clicked on, look at the hit points up top. Look at how it's kind of evenly going down. This is not a fight that necessarily is advantageous for Dare. In fact, they seem to be paying quite a bit, but they do catch a little bit of an advantage after that. Now, we were listening to comps, and we noticed that Dare was ordered to cycle their clips. Everyone who had any shells left in a bat chat put themselves on reload so that everybody could get up one more time. That left out on a little bit of damage, and that may have been the difference in momentum at that crucial point in the battle.
Yep, exactly. And looking at the damage here, Spirit Walker, 4K damage, just about 1 kill, 78 fantasy points. Knight also putting up 3K and 1 kill, 96 fantasy points for the cap resets that he got. Halo also having 3 kills on top of that, 84 fantasy points. Harmless, Aggressor, and Dark Ninja, top performers for Dare Rising, however, not really able to get into the fight in the long run.
Yeah, and just going to note, Spirit Walker fired 22 times in that battle. 13 of those were direct hits, and about 10 of those were penetrations.
He kept that STRV firing, and that's really the trick to that tank, is it has extremely high DPM. What it's not good at is peekaboo games, where you peek a corner and take one shot. 400 alpha is kind of weak. However, what's not weak is the almost 4K DPM that it can put out once it's in siege mode with all the rations and everything else. It just rifles off shot. I think it comes into like 3,600 DPM, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's an absolute destroyer. The problem is exactly what you said. And overcoming that can be a bit of a challenge, but we do see how these guys do it every single battle, so just pay attention, maybe you'll learn something.
Yep, exactly, and we're getting ready for the next battle on Cliff as teams switch sides. Lineups coming in: a Mouse, a 5A, 3 bat chats, a TVP, and a Sheridan, 4 F7, who are on offense. Meanwhile, Dare, 2 5As, 3 bat chats, a 140, and an STRV of their own.
Right, so with lineups like this, that Sheridan's not something unfamiliar. I guess I'll put it like that. But
that Sheridan, let's go ahead and jump over and take a look.
Sheridan and a Mouse.
He is running the dirt, so he does have the giant gun on it. Now, this will really hurt some of these bat chats if he can get a good shot. It does have good gun depression, and he is rather quick, so he can get up and get the lights. However, shooting at range is not something this tank is great at.
No, it's not. The Sheridan's going to go pretty much alone up to the middle as well. Something that's not too dangerous.
STRV missing a shot on the Sheridan as he pushes up.
Nice for him. That's going to be good for F7 on their attack. Pay as little as possible to get your high ground.
Now, the bat shots are pushing out to the 8 line for F7.
And if you look at, there's going to be some fire coming from Chase Potato and down there with the Mouse, possibly on the Object 140 currently going up the hill.
Yep, so they're trying to catch out any tanks going up the goat ramp on the back side. There is a few angles you can get down there from the low ground.
Doesn't look like they're going to go with it. Decide moving on up. 5A is going to go forward. Mouse is going to lag behind. And this is going to be very much like the last battle. Dare's taking a very similar, just defensive stance, spread a few tanks out. Instead of putting one of their 5As out east to die, they're actually going to hold back a little bit more. And I think that's the major difference. That's about it.
I'm kind of interested to see how F7 deploy the Mouse in this strat.
Is it forward is the best direction onto the 1 cap and then shield it?
I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is denial of the 1-2 line early, making sure that our team can't push in or get into the backfield, try to catch a team out, doing something cheeky essentially. That Mouse with 3K HP, pretty decent DPM, and the armor will work really well against, say, bat chats, which Dare do have a lot of. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Now it looks like he is going to go up to the high ground, which will take a minute.
May just, or part of me hopes he's actually just turning in to avoid getting spotted, but I don't know. Can the Mouse
gonna go up.
Is the Mouse really one of the better choices in this.
Well, what they may do with him, what it looks like, is they may push him across to that D3 rock, put him up with the side against that, and then he can sit there and just stare at the bash hats and their tanks on hill and trade with it. Because he has the HP and the armor, he can make it work.
Okay. I see what you're going for. Far in the right direction. Oh, look at this. You've actually got an attack coming out of Dare right now on the east side of the map. 5A moving forward. That's Aggressor followed up by Harmless. This is unexpected, actually. So, right there, that's not going to be something you were...
Spearwalker's going to get caught out on the backside there, have to back off.
Nice.
But now they know the gig is up, so now these batch hats need to get out of here because the 5A and the mouse for F7 are not in a position to support them right now.
Oh, that's the play from Dare. There you are. That's their brilliance, is that they know the mouse is not going to be able to support, so why not start an attack? You can literally do this, finish up this attack, fiddle around for a minute, get back to your own base, and set back up, and the mouse probably won't be in position.
During the last map, we were talking about how heavy tanks have been kind of phased out on this map, and that's for the exact reason. That mouse takes so long to rotate around.
As it does, it's just now getting into the open where it can start getting into cover where you were talking about. And F7 has been pushed way back into the south. This isn't going to kill them as far as being able to still, you know, fight for a cap. But this is... Okay, get clicked on. Dodging a shell right there, getting a bounce.
Dare not really sure what they want to do right now. They pulled all the tanks back, maybe trying to set a bait, and now they've pushed everything back in down that 8-9 line. So I'll have to see if they continue through with the push this time around.
I doubt it. You know, like, pushing doesn't seem like the wisest choice. Although, look, I did not notice this. Did you see where Halo and Knight are?
Down on the lower shelf. They don't know they're there, however, they're isolated. And if Dare figured out, they could just jump on them.
That they could. And looks like they're going to move up and over. Will this sneak attack... does this count as a surprise attack? Will it even surprise their opponent? I mean, Harmless is on the side of a mountain with not a bad vantage into Halo.
And this is going to be a 6-on-5, essentially, that STRV and the WZ and the 140 out of the fight. So F7 could make this work. However, Halo gets focused out early. And so far, the rest of F7 not in position to punish.
Not quite. They're actually going to find themselves in a really bad fight. What could have been okay. It could have honestly gone fairly well, except for the fact F7 decided to redirect a lot of their tanks back towards the hill, where they just kind of hid in inferior ground. Yeah, there was some cover, but in doing so, they allowed a number of tanks from Dare to actually get stronger positions and deal more damage. So right now you're seeing double the hit points on the side of Dare, F7 sitting at 5.4k hit points. And, well, Dare has every reason to win here.
Yep, it looks they're definitely in the stronger position now, up double the HP. That mouse just getting caught out, not really able to do a whole lot. Now he has Nationwide coming up behind him, so he's going to go down in a minute as he's trying to hurry up and get in here, and all 7 tanks still alive for Dare Rising.
There we go. Zone's going to go down. Knight's trying to make a fight of this. Won't last very long. Dark Ninja taking a lot of damage on the high ground. Does go down in a trade for Knight, but now only 2 tanks remained. Chase Potato in the mid. Get clicked on, who has been slowly dying for the past few minutes. There he goes. That's it. Dare wins with only 1 tank lost. Nicely done. Okay, so let's break this one down, because this one was mostly on Dare, I think. I think F7 messed up. I think that they had the opportunity to make the right choices, but they elected to make the wrong ones.
I think it was a combination for Dare of reading the lineup from F7 well, and F7 not fully understanding what they wanted to go for. Because I never really saw the plan with that mouse really like materialize. Like they had the mouse, but you didn't really see like, this is why they brought the mouse. This is the role we wanted in.
It never got to do that, and I think that's what Dare did very, very well. Because you actually noticed this early in the battle, and I like that. It was, you said, okay, this is where the mouse is going to go. He's going to go onto the west side of the map. He's going to push up a little bit, and he's just going to be annoying. But here's what really happened is he moved up and. Well, he actually didn't get a chance to even try his plan. Because Dare did something else first. That
They
F7 had to
dictated
react.
the tempo of the play, and look at how it paid off for him. Look at all the damage. 6 of the top 7 in damage done. 80 fantasy points coming up for Harmless. Aggressor putting up 63. Dark Ninja 66. Bird, someone who's been relatively quiet so far this season, 63. 1, 2, 3, another 56. And then get clicked on top damage for F7, and the mouse only doing 1,400.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was because Dare decided to just throw an attack out there. Why? They read the lineup. They understood that the mouse's goal was to get into a well defensible position and just hold and be really, really annoying. Dare realized that they can't let them do that. So what do? You go where that mouse isn't, cut it out of the fight, make it an irrelevant piece of armor, and then by the time it becomes relevant whatsoever, it's too late. And F7 did not recognize that.
Yeah, well, we were talking about it on the first match. We touch on it is the reason the heavy tanks kind of fell out of the meta on that map was because map control is so important, getting to the aggressive positions early, and you can really punish out some of the heavy tanks. And this mouse kind of showed exactly why that happened. He wasn't really able to get to the fight at any time anything happened. So definitely something I think they need to go back to on the drawing board and look at. However, that's enough on Cliff because we're now on to Himmelsdorf. F7 coming in with a 113, a 50B, 2 mice, 2 bat chats, and an E3. Meanwhile, Dare Rising on the attack. 50B, 2 mice, 2 5As, a bat chat, and a grill 15.
Ooh, we haven't seen one of those in a while. Why would a grill 15 be making a comeback?
Mobility and a lot of alpha. That's the 2 main strong points that thing has.
And you wouldn't bring that over an E3 or an E4?
Depending on the role that it's in. In this case, it allows for flexibility, so it can get from the one line up to the hill, can open up the different crossfires. The E3 is going to take way too long to rotate around. Now, it is F7 on the defense, and what does defense mean? It means we don't have to move a lot on Himmelsdorf. The offense, on the other hand, has to play a lot of different angles to try to open up those defenses and really chip away at their HP, and that's something that this grill does excel at. Now, it is going to be F7 actually pushing down the one line very aggressively with pretty much all 7 of their tanks leaving nothing by that 2 cap.
They won't need to for a while, you know?
2 bat chats just streaking down the one line. No, I agree. Yeah, it's just something we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, it's a bit weird to just leave that area of your map entirely open. Although, this could actually give us a nice early engagement. That'll be fun. We've got Halo scouting out a little bit. Just he knows not to knock things over. Halo knocked things over. So now that Halo has knocked things over down in the southwest, Dare knows he's there. And Dark Ninja's taking damage. Why is Dark Ninja taking damage? Who's shooting Dark Ninja? James. Who's doing that?
I did not see. Where is Dark Ninja?
Why would you shoot Dark Ninja?
Oh, he's over in the 8 line. So that was one of the mice shooting through that D2 corner there. Has a nice shot across from that lane right there. And that mouse can sit there relatively unopposed. There really isn't anyone that can trade fire on him right now.
Let me find him. Let me find that mouse. Who's that? Oh, here's Dark Ninja. We'll show you where Dark Ninja's actually shooting in just a sec. Because Dark is actually firing for
blind shots.
Yeah, blind shots, but right where a mouse usually is. So that's probably where he took fire in response.
Yep, however, firing those heat shells, which have an atrocious shell travel time. You can kind of see them arcing through the air there.
Oh, I hate the arc on bat chat shells. It's at long range.
Well, especially the heat shells.
Yeah, because they just drop off all of a sudden, and if you're not used to it, you're gonna mess it up.
That has been something that's been kind of interesting about the recent change of the meta to the mouse meta is before most bat shots wouldn't bring any heat. They'd run nothing but APCR, maybe 1 heat clip, because the APCR was just so superior and there wasn't any tanks where you needed the heat. But the mouse armor has become so strong, and we're seeing so many mice that carrying, a couple heat clips, especially in a map like Himmelsdorf, is just a necessity now.
There's Durgel taking a shell on the hill. Another bit of blind fire up there. Chase Potato taking blind fire, I guess, again.
Yep, that is the downside to that grill, is it is really soft. It doesn't have any armor, and a blind shot hitting it is going to almost always do damage unless it hits the track or maybe hits the gun and doesn't do damage. His aggressor gets caught out in the courtyard.
He is
trying to make this push.
I don't know why he's doing this quite so alone. He is just walking into fire.
He's a mouse.
Yeah, but like this, without proper support, there's no other pressure from Dare on any other part of the map. I get it. It's a distraction to get into position, but it's not working. It's going really, really rough. This is not good. Aggressor is very unhappy.
But look, they might flank in behind that E3 right now.
Possibly.
Definitely something to keep an eye on as they push around, and they are going to catch him out. He's trying to turn around, but gun angles open from both the courtyard and this D line have him in a really awkward position right now.
Nope, he's going to get turned around. Harmless is, yes, behind Knight down south there. We can see him getting an angle on the backside. But this will take long enough that that F7 should be able to do something about this. Because of that, I'm pretty confident that this is going to just... This is actually going to work to stall out Dare more than it is to allow them to get a win. There we go. That's the kill inning. There we go. They can keep moving forward a little bit now, but get clicked on, and the mouse is slightly towards 2 cap.
Yeah, Clicked on needs to be careful. He's definitely isolated up on that cap. Now, the 50B is rotating up there, but he very easily could be the tank that they isolate out, especially now that the Bat Chats have gotten aggressive in the south. And they're trying to find some shots onto Harmless and the mouse in the courtyard, and they do take him down.
Nicely. There we go. So this should be an F7 defense to hold. They've got the health advantage. From here, they should be able to kind of corral, if you know what I mean, Dare in and just kind of push him around and just get kills here and there. This will slow down. That'll actually allow for Dare tanks to get off the hill.
I wonder if F7 are going to realize the position they're in with these tanks bottlenecked. If they get more aggressive with that south control, they could really make life hard for Dare Rising right now.
I think what they're deciding to do is play it safe, as opposed to something slightly riskier and more aggressive, by taking the Bat Jets back through their own territory. F7 deciding
in a really awkward spot. Only the 50B to cover him right now. He's going to try to back up and angle his armor zoned. This 50B needs to figure out what he's going to do, but he only has 1 clip, so this is not a favorable trade for him. And the rest of the team, including the Bat Jets, are coming up to the north.
Oh, a bounce.
They may find the overmatch onto these tanks. So Dare think they have the overmatch, but little do they know the backup has arrived, and this could flip-flop very quickly.
Nicely done. All right, that was a play Dare needed to make. At the same time, they have kind of closed that gap on hit points, so they're a little bit closer to even, meaning that slightly higher chances they're going to be able to do something just because of that strong play. There we go. All we have to see is a kill on the 5A, and that's advantage back in favor of F7. But
F7 keeping it tight, using the mice to hold that cross by the cap. Bat Chat backing him up, and then a 113 to Bat Chat watching the exit on the 5 line. So they know that these 3 tanks in the 5 line can't go anywhere. They have both exits. So if Dare try to rotate out, they will take damage. It's just a matter of from whom and how much.
And how can they deal with that? So look at that. Nationwide and Bird are backing off. That I think is a safer play. You can kind of hold back a little farther from these more dangerous positions. Although, is this? No.
And now it looks like it's going to be Dare doing the counter flank as the heavies are going to push in and find that 113. The Bat Chat trying to get him behind, but the Bat Chats for F7 using their mobility, trying to open up that 1-2 line, and they're going to flank the flank of the flank. So
contra flank.
Well, this is like a counter flank times 2.
Yeah.
Like what Dare did was already a contra flank. This is counter flanking the counter flank.
Yeah. So, Chase Potato, little pinned right there, takes a shell to the back, decides forward's the best direction to get out of a surrounded position, and finds himself in a 2v1 all the same. But gives himself time to get 1-2-3 pushed back, and Chase is able to return to his initial position. Nice teamwork there, cover fire. Another shell hits 1-2-3.
Spirit finds a nice shot onto 1-3 in the courtyard. However, he's going to know.
There's the kill.
He's going to soon find out there's another Bat Chat down there, and they may, he may be down shots as Dark Ninja has a full clip right now. However, the teammates putting shots into Dark Ninja from the north, and Mice getting shots in there. So now it's going to be up to Spirit Walker.
Nicely played. Look at Vale, though. Look at Vale. He's getting a lot of bounces. Although what's happening over there with the Bat Chats on the outside, doesn't matter. Dark Ninja's down. Good teamwork again. See, this is F7 showing that they're communicating. You're seeing that shift of focus from one fight to a different one very, very quickly. That gives me a lot of confidence for them. But right now, it's close. Dare can still win, but they don't need things like 1-2-3 going down like that. So nice play by Halo Meal, covering, knowing where enemy tanks are coming from. The 2 mice are probably the biggest problem, but nice bounce right there. 5As do have armor. You have to remember that.
I like how F7 have employed their mice this game, using them to essentially fill holes in their defense. Where they feel they're weak, they rotate the mice around, and they just put them right in front of Dare Rising and say, hey, here are 2 mice.
Oh, Spirit's gotten in position finally and just unloads right now. One more shell into Nationwide. He's got this, but it's a very thin shell. Hard to find. That'll prompt the mice to come on out and say hello.
The grill's still up on the hill. 1 shot. Get clicked on. Looked like he was looking for a shot, but he's just going to push into the courtyard and take out Nationwide. Bounces off the front plate. Caller struggling to pen the 5A there a little bit.
And then Vale actually throws a shell on top of the hill, assuming Get Clicked is going to get the kill. Get Clicked does not get the kill.
Now Nationwide trying to get their shot off, and Vale actually reloads first and puts him out. So Get Clicked on. You need to make sure he makes those shots count, because if that had been a tighter situation, that could have been the shot that turned that fight.
It absolutely could have. Although I do want to give some credit to Vale. He just recognized that the grill was on the hill, looked up, fired, got a shot in an instant. I really liked that play.
Yeah, I'd have to give props off, though, to Spirit Walker in that bat chat that game. Used the mobility of that bat chat perfectly, got to every fight he needed to be on. He had some good shots early on, and then he was able to flex up to the north when they were worried about being overmatched there.
But this, right at the beginning, that aggressor kill did not feel equitable. It definitely felt like a play that was not ideal. That's not what they wanted. Dare wasn't coordinated at that point, I think. And then later on, Dare started to really get themselves back together.
Yeah, but it was Spirit Walker that kind of broke down that second wave from Dare, using the mobility, opening up the one line, and putting up a lot of damage. However, Nationwide was the top damage dealer this game in that 5A, almost 4K, 113 fantasy points. Spirit Walker, top damage for F7, 3,500 and almost 90 fantasy points. Halo, strong 3K and 2 kills. Halo's been picking up a lot of kills. He had 3 in one of the earlier Cliff games, another 2 now. So almost 80 fantasy points for him. And then it just starts to drop off a good bit after that. No one really standing out. Knight doing all right.
Yeah, tends to be. So let's talk about flipping sides, actually, on Himmelsdorf. So after that one, Dare's going to have the chance now to defend. F7's going to attack. And I'm guessing expectations are a little bit more towards defenders win again. Dare probably takes that. This is just an even series. But like I said earlier, I kind of feel like this will go one way or the other. So I'm starting to get the feeling that F7's actually going to win on attack here.
They need to really break something out, though, because if you look at this lineup for Dare,
dang it.
This is going to be one tough defense to break. A 50B, 2 mice, a 5A, an E3, and 2 E4s. That is a lot of alpha.
Yes.
And F7 are going to attempt to break it with 2 113s, 2 50Bs, a mouse, 5A, and a bat chat. So the main thing that I see here out of F7 is flexibility. 113s, quick heavy tanks. 50Bs, quick heavy tanks. 5A, quick heavy tank. Bat chat, fast medium tank. Only slow tank is the mouse.
And you just need that to bring enough hit points and armor that when you run up against their mouse, you can do something about that.
As long as they can save their HP and use that mouse effectively later when they need to break that defense. If they bleed that HP from the mouse too early, he essentially becomes useless in this sort of lineup.
That he does. We'll have to see if he's able to make some use. Now, that flexibility you were talking about with the faster lineup that's able to get a little bit more focus onto different targets, right? So with Dare's defense, with all these E3s and E4s, what you're going to be looking for is how to focus on any of the E3s or E4s that are going to have an alpha position, right? You're going to just show up, surprise, take the hit, sure, but you're probably going to be able to actually win in that trade by dealing just that much more damage. That's what the 50Bs, that's what the bat chat give you. You are going to be playing a dangerous game because there are, of course, risks involved in all of these things. But I really feel like that might be the strongest angle to go at this from if you're F7. Find some isolations, go for the kill, it's worth it. You'll take a little bit of damage, but you need to get some of those big heavy hitters off the battlefield quickly.
And while you were talking, Spirit Walker actually found a nice little shot through a gap into the side of 1, 2, 3 as he pushed down the one line. However, Halo took some shots on that 50B and returned up on the hill.
Yeah, he does. Everyone seems to be taking fire on the hill way too easily. Like, have you noticed this? It's just me?
It's just the shape of the hill and how you have to play it to get damage. You have to really creep forward to get some damage on the lower lanes. However, the tanks further back on the 2-line have easier shots the further you pull forward, but you have to pull further forward to get better shots, so it's that balance.
Oh. Spirit Walker, why? He crosses into the open, he knows there's an opponent there, aggressor knows that if you're... That was an easy play, Spirit Walker shouldn't have fallen for it, but he does, takes half his hit points of damage now. This isn't good for F7. They need those hit points in order to gain ground. They're going to have to pay a toll here or there. So I don't like seeing that out of F7. Dare, the more time that goes on, Dare is more and more likely to win. The more you see this, because there's just damage slipping through.
Well, there's so much alpha on the field for Dare. They can very easily delete pretty much any tank but the mouse, and even the mouse won't stand up to an E3 and 2 E4s for very long.
No.
High penetration, high alpha. It's really going to just bleed these tanks down. If they keep making sloppy pokes like this until they're ready to make a decisive play, they're not going to have any HP left by the time they have to actually make some sort of push or attack.
This is true. Now look at this. A lot of spotting happening in the middle. Seeing not a whole lot of motion from the back line of Dare. Aggressor's trying to just get shots through the tiny hidey hole. It's a tricky spot to look at. As you can see, Aggressor is having his own troubles trying to get shots to there. But he can get spotting, and that's what's the important part. As he looks for another shell towards Chase Potato.
Chase is lit.
I don't know. Looks like he's not able to get any more spotting. That's going to be because Vale get clicked on and now moving south. I think this is going to be an F7 push from the south.
It looks like that's what they're going for. The caller in me disagrees with this sort of play.
Yeah, because it seems like a suicide run. But so that's probably not what they'll do then. They'll probably skirmish in this area, if anything. They've got 6 minutes left, right?
Yeah, if I'm on the other team, if I'm F7 right now, the logic I'm going to go for is I need to make all these big, heavy, slow tanks move. You have to use their weakness against them, and this does not do that. This drives straight into a bunch of guns sitting in fixed positions, which is not something you always want to avoid. It's not like they're big tanks sitting in the open. They're sitting in nice coverable positions, whether it's in the train station, behind the E1 buildings, and it's all those high alpha guns that we talked about. So definitely something that they need to work on.
Yeah, what about this, though? Isolation play. Think they could get Aggressor out with a few volleys and just back off?
Yes, however, once again, high alpha. So what's going to happen is when they make that cross, Durgel and the other E4 sitting behind them, but Bird are going to be ready to get shots off. So yeah, they're going to kill a tank, but they're guaranteed going to eat 1 to 2 volleys from high alpha tank destroyers to do it.
And there you see in the bottom left hand side of your screen, Knight zoned and Halo moving up, get clicked, and Vale will be on the other flank, taking the main push. And this will be a west side attack from F7. Question is this actually going to get any gains, or is this all just a waste of their time and their efforts? Is Dare going to be ready for it? And spotting has happened. Tanks are lit. We know what's going on. Halo down to less than half health as the 113s search for a shot, not finding anything at all. Struggling to find a way of staying relevant and supporting in this battle.
They're just trading blow for blow. They know that these tank destroyers are there. Chase Potato takes a big hit from one of the E4s, bleeding a lot of HP, and now 123 getting a little bit more aggressive, does find the shot onto the 50B from F7, and this is still easily Dare's game. They're up by a lot of HP. However, all 7 guns are still alive for F7.
Still, for now, I guess. You could say that, but this doesn't look like a situation where F7 is confident they can or even should go forward. And because of that, I'm losing a lot of faith here in this push. Halo's pinned. Knight can keep trying to protect everyone else in his team, but
doesn't leave them with any options.
Yeah,
and there goes the E3 getting another shot for another 656. That is a really low roll from an E4.
Yeah, F7 needs to get out of this position quickly. The 113 and 5A that I see in mid-map, they get it. They know, they understand the idea. Get out of this position, get to the north, start pressuring the 2-cap. There are enough tanks in the southwest right now. This attack is not worth. And right now, looking at hit points, F7 spent a lot just to find that out.
Now, this is what I was talking about, not the way I envisioned it, but this comes back to the conversation we had earlier about different callers seeing things different ways. You need to make those big, heavy tanks move, and instead what they've done is they've forced Dare to respond to the 1-2 line, and they have created an overmatch in the north, which they could possibly exploit. Now, it's not going so well, but it's what I see they're trying to do right now is they flex up to the north, where they know they have this mouse isolated.
Yep. Now, once Halo goes down, that'll be 2 tanks lost in the southwest for a gain of, what, a few thousand hit points? Maybe 2K hit points? There, that's it. I'll count that as a part of the loss.
And 123 does pick up.
Yeah, this is solid. Solid from Dare. Dare's got this in the bag.
Yep. Yeah, I can kind of see what they're going for now, trying to open it up, but the problem is that Dare just read it and they paid too much of a toll. I'm fine giving up a little bit of HP to force a team into the position you want, kind of as a bait. However, you have to look at how much of your HP and how many of your guns you're giving up in that bait, and in this case it was F7 giving up, you know, almost 3.5 tanks, including the mouse was never going to be able to leave. 50Bs could flex out after they bled half their HP. But the mouse, you know, he was stuck down there and ended up going down, and they didn't do it in time to really punish them for it. They didn't do it in time to get their guns up to the north quickly enough.
Yeah, and altogether, Dare had a solid defense. I was wrong. I had a feeling about this map, but it will not be true. It's just going to go 1-1 again. Defenders taking it both times. Spirit Walker decides, all right, guys, we're done here. And honorable Sudoku. All right, so I don't think there's much to say about that aside from it was just not a successful attack. It did not read Dare's defense well. F7 didn't throw anything at Dare that they weren't ready for.
You can see the theory behind what they were trying to do kind of in the later game. It was kind of hard early for me to read exactly what they wanted to go for. They tried to go for it, however the problem was that it just never materialized, and I personally think it was just too big a toll to pay as some bait, essentially.
I tend to agree as well. Just altogether not too worth it. I don't think dissecting that attack in such a way is necessarily the most useful topic, but I think we can kind of show that Dare bringing 3 tank destroyers was pretty scary. Can we agree with that one?
Oh yeah, and look at how much damage they pumped out. That nationwide, that A3 had a monster game.
Everyone on the side of F7 was just scared to poke their heads out.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the whole point of this sort of defense from Dare, is that much high alpha on the field. Earlier we were talking about how the Sturv is not a tank you want to play corner games with. Well, Dare just showed exactly the type of tanks you want to play corner games with. High alpha tank destroyers, E3s, E4s.
Well, they're not corner games. I'm waiting in the middle of the street. You are playing corner games.
The better term that we hear a lot is peekaboo.
Yes.
Exactly. It's just, hey, come around the corner. Hey, high alpha tank destroyer sitting right here.
Yeah, it's like a game of whack-a-mole. You just wait for them to peek out and just click.
Smack. There's 750 alpha gone, or HP gone. And looking at the second page here, nothing too surprising from either team. Durzel still struggling to get in there, only 1,400, but most of F7 down here on the second page, you can really see the lack of damage they were able to even get off on those tanks. They never really materialized any sort of overmatch they could capitalize on, no isolations. They tried, you could kind of see what they were going for in hypotheticals. However, the practicality of actually playing it off is another completely different subject.
Agreed. All right, so now we're going to be going to Sand River next, as that's going to be a more open map, a little more flexible, a little fun, wouldn't you say? We get to see some scouts.
Yeah, I think Sand River could be the decider here, just because this is a more open map, and this is a map that's going to, I think, rely more on individual skill. And I mentioned on it earlier, this is one of those maps where I think the individuals for Dare need to step up, and if they do, I think they will put F7 in their place, and this could be a 4-2 by the end of this map.
And I'm seeing a timeout being called. Who's that call?
Timeout has been ended by, let's see here. Timeout has been called. I cannot tell.
Looks like that was zone. So it's a little timeout there on the side of F7. That gives them a second.
There it is.
Now, I wanted to bring up a topic about Sand River, and that it's a newer map. Teams, while they may be familiar with it because of how long it's been in the game, may not be as familiar with it as a map in this format. Because of that, do you think F7 or Dare at any particular advantage, disadvantage?
Well, I think actually both teams have a decent amount of experience on the map now in the attack defense format, just from previous seasons in the league. Because remember how we were talking about how there's a lot of former teammates on the team of Dare. So they've both played in league when it was the one season that it was in rotation before, the first season that we moved to tier 10 about 4 seasons ago now.
Yes.
So both these teams have players that have experienced it. Also, those that have watched the Clan League or Clan Cup, it has been played on Sand River as well. That's at a bigger scale, 14-on-14 attack defense. So while there's a lot more tanks, a lot of the same principle and theories are applied to the map. So I think both teams are on what I'd say equal footing right now.
Yeah.
However, looking at the lineups, F7 and IS7, a Kron, 2 Batchats, a 140, a Sturv, and an Object 261. Once again, get clicked on, playing Artie. Who would have thought?
Yes.
Dare Rising, 2 5As, 3 Batchats, a Patton, and a T100 light tank. Dark Ninja's had a relatively quiet night so far.
That he has. I want to talk about that 261. So, you thought we weren't going to have Artie, didn't you? Didn't you?
It's not that we weren't going to see Artie, I just didn't think it was worth the spot in the lineup to bring.
All right, well, let's get ready for battle number 1 on Sand River, where we are going to see an Object 261. It's going to be the tank that I follow because I'm a fan. I am a fan of the Object 261. I like the way it works now. It's decently fast firing. It's maneuverable. It's heavy enough. So for smashing things, that's why. Sometimes in RD you have to smash things, and also.
It's also very quick.
Yeah, it will, and the arc is just so. You know what I mean? Just so. It's not quite as low and terrible as it used to be.
And the early counterfire is out, trying to get the blind fire on some tanks, possibly doing a boost. However, not something that they're doing right now. Now look at this setup for F7. This is a very split lineup. And looking at it right now, we'll have to see if F7 figure out that they have an overmatch.
They probably will take a second to realize it. Look at the bat chats in the slightly farther to the back. Those bat chats are what we're going to be looking for, because if they get deeper into the backfield, that should be the ticket right there. Although, look, Nationwide, or sorry, Harmless and 123 are spotted by Chase. That's good. They might force Dare to turn back.
And Durgel picks up.
Whoa.
Yeah, Durgel picks up, get
Okay.
clicked on. That's already down.
Where? Did he spot him?
He had to have. That had to be Dark Ninja in the middle area there. The 261 was flexing towards the south across the 0 line, and Dark Ninja playing that middle G line spotted him on the cross, and then Durgel was able to get up on the high ground and find the angle.
That hurts so much. That's 10 whole tier points just gone. Just gone. That was cap defense. That was the reset on this cap. Was that was what that 261 was.
And now it's just going to come down to Spirit Walker, and Aggressor's already sitting in the off angle, going to make Spirit Walker's life pretty miserable with his caps down to 7 seconds. Spirit needs to make the hero plays right now. He's going to come around. He's going to start firing. He gets 1 reset. Needs to find a second as he creeps forward. He does get the second. Now Nationwide, last one, and now they're going to dump onto Spirit, and the guns are not in position to punish. Spirit's going to go down for free. Dark Ninja takes a few shots, but this is not a good trade for F7.
No, it is not. This is the mistake. This is honestly a mistake. They're going to look back at this and say we should not have left tanks out and exposed, unsupported like we did. Because of that, Dare is able to walk all over you. They're together. Yeah, they lose Dark Ninja, sure, whatever. But the position right now from Dare has so much more potential than that of F7. Chase Potato in the north should be the primary target. Once he goes down, that's complete northern control. 2 caps should be easily in control of Dare.
Chase Potato does take down Nationwide from the IS-7, still hold down up in the north.
And now Harmless
himself a nuisance.
Moves in on Chase, stops in front of him. Probably the worst spot to shoot at an IS-7. Gets on the side finally, bounces again.
Harmless struggling right now.
Oh no, IS-7 hero.
He's trying, Chase is doing what he can. He bounces one, he might get one more shot.
No, that was a bounce from someone else. There he goes, okay, wow. Wow,
Chase
this turned around.
Harmless making a meal of that one.
In the meantime, 123 takes down Knight. Bird, Durgel, and 123 are all together well enough to be able to hold on to this, maybe get the win. But with the S-Tank and 2 bat chats, this isn't over yet. F7 can solve the problem here. They just have to see the answers. Moving the S-Tank up, James, is potentially dangerous, but also could be a necessary risk because you need to get that tank into a position where it can actually shoot things. If you can't guarantee that from a distance, maybe moving him up is the best idea.
Bale might get caught out now by the heavy tanks playing this ridge perfectly. He does take 1 shot of damage though. And now Zone trying to move in as Halo covers in the backfield. Now F7 needs to be real careful that this bat chat up in the north doesn't get around and get some side angles, as Zone is going to go into siege mode, try to work these angles against
He's actually firing up to the north.
Towards Harmless, he found a shot on him.
Nice, 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 nice. That's exactly what you want to do. Dangerous though, of course, because if that was well timed by Dare, they could have just come around the corner, taken the hits, and got the damage, got the kills, and ended this right here. Zoned is the healthiest tank on F7, and it won't take all that much damage from the heavy tanks of Dare in order to, well, finish him off. Halo and Veil are easy kills, really.
It is a 4v3.
Well, what's up with Harmless? He does not know Halo is there. And that kill's about to happen. Halo finds Harmless. Harmless looks to try and get a parting shot. Misses it, dies.
Yep, and that's going to even it up. 3-on-3 right now. So Halo is going to be in control up in the north. And now he may find the one-on-one with 123. Now HP is roughly even between these two. It's 696 to 700.
Durgel gets a nice shot to Veil. There we go. That's what they want.
Halo doesn't know 123's here. 123's looking for him. He's not spotted yet. He's going to come around, and now Halo knows he's there. He gets 1 shot into him. He's trying to push him around.
Durgel just fired HE into Bird.
Bird picks up the kill onto Zone, and now it's just down to Halo. F7 tried to hold on here, but they're just using their flexibility, moving around, and a little bit of lack of composure from F7 costing the game right now, and that is going to be Dare holding on to their offense, putting another point up on the board.
There we go. Yeah, I think that entire battle, we noticed how Dare was a little bit more on top of things than was F7. Consistently. It was from the beginning, that opening move, many of the Dare tanks were a little bit more together. And then from that point, Dare recognized overmatches. They took advantage of the overmatches. Yes, we saw F7 with some strong responses, but here, this is what I'm talking about. That counter push from Dare was perfectly timed and understood. It was just basic stuff, but applied correctly. And there, Harmless, I wish he could have gotten a parting shot. That, Bird and Durgel playing together, Bird getting a ram into the side of a tank destroyer, was the ideal play there. He avoids damage on his ally, moves that tank into a position it doesn't expect to be. Just everything's right with that. And nicely played from Dare.
Yeah, what I have to say, what I felt like that game, we'll get back to that in a second, is zoned up here, 4K damage in that STRV, almost 90 fantasy points. Aggressor, top damage dealer in that patent. For Dare Rising, 2,600, 70 fantasy points. Durgel, 2,300, and then drops off pretty heavily after there. What I was going to say is what it kind of felt like there was F7 were trying something different that wasn't kind of the set meta on Sand River. They're trying to go for something new and hadn't really quite worked out all the kinks. And then Dare kind of found a few little pieces that they have used. Taking down that Artie was definitely a big one because that's a tier 10 gone. Yeah. This isn't 768 where that's just a tier 8 you lost, which is a minor inconvenience. That is a full tier 10 the other team has that you no longer have.
If I were to venture a guess at what F7 was going for, it was for a very classic cover positions and Artie support. All you're doing is you're spotting with every tank in your team, and you're all ideally set up in positions where you can each cover each other and support each other. And because of that, then you have the artillery as a force multiplier, where it can apply its force anywhere on the map, while the rest of everyone else is able to spread that around.
If they had gotten the Artie down there into the south where they didn't feel they have to move, and Chase Potato maybe tucked in a little bit more instead of getting caught out, they could have sat there, used the Artie to get the resets, but the problem was with the Artie down, first Spirit Walker had to push in, he was the first one to fall, and then there was the whole debacle with Chase Potato up in the north, and it just fell apart from there, so really need to focus on keeping that Artie alive in future matches. However, we're on to battle number 6, F7, a 113, a 5A, 3 bat chats, and an object 140. Dare Rising, a 5A, 5 bat chats, and an object 140 of their own. So pretty standard from both teams. A little bit heavy for F7 with the 3 Chinese heavy tanks.
I'm not going to knock him for it. I do not mind seeing enough Russian and Chinese heavy tanks on Sand River. They're kind of the natural complement to a lot of those mediums. And I think a lot of teams tend to underestimate the value of a heavy tank on a map like Sand River, where, yes, you can throw all the bat shots you want out there, but really, yeah, nice from Knight. Really, you can get away with a lot of heavy tanks and support because of what they bring over those medium tanks. A little spotting there. Spirit Walker spotted for 1, 2, 3. That vision, all it tells to either team is we have scouts. That's it. In the meantime, a little hit squad going southwest. This is an unusual defensive play from a team like Dare.
So what they're going to try to do is sweep around in the south. If you can control the F1 corner in that kind of south base area, you can get shots up that middle area towards that 2 cap. And in turn, you control both caps from that point on, essentially. However, to make that happen, your whole team essentially has to go, and that's what they're doing. They're taking both the middle and the north, and if F7 aren't careful here, they're going to get caught out.
Aggressor is spotted. Second tank, third tank, everyone is spotted, and that's going to be a retreat from F7. They need to give ground. They understand, all right, guys, this is not where you stand and fight. Let's go group up. And at the same time, 5As are moving to the middle of the map right now, where actually they may be able to hold off this southwest push. They just need to get into position soon enough. F7 cannot waste time, because what they will be doing is they have to cross through, well, a killing field, supported by 3 bat shots at range.
Yep, now keep an eye on the clips here for Dare. They've just had a lot of their tanks fire their clips off. Some of them just drop early, so now this is the part where F7 need to speed things up and try to counter it out and get some more shots off.
And there's some little push coming in from Spirit Walker and from Zoned onto Bird, 1, 2, 3, and Durgel. Not a huge success, but not exactly a failure either. This is a very little skirmish.
F7 are in a really awkward spot. There's still bat chats out on the 1 line. But some of the tanks are rotating back around through over to the 8, so now they're sitting here in an open field with nowhere to go on either side. And it's just now that one tank is coming up towards that north cap, which could be what they need to do. However, these 5As in the middle, along with the Batchats and the 140s, they're at danger of being isolated if too many tanks leave the fight.
They could. We'll have to see what happens now. There's quite a spread from Dare and from F7. Nationwide taking a lot of damage. He should not go down. I think if Nationwide can stay alive, this is good for Dare. Losing a tank is just an unnecessary gun off the battlefield right now. Just have to keep him alive. With Cap going right now on the 2 cap, this is what I was worried about earlier too, James. Because if you push to the southwest, like, there's no way to support your 2 cap. You could be cut off, unable to support.
However, if you look at it though, these 2 Batchats on the 1 line, they have these 5As cut off. The 5As can't leave. Their escape route is pinned, and they can't push into these Batchats because they have to cross an open field. So while they've taken south control, they have 5 guns on the other side. These 2 Batchats are keeping 2 tanks out of the fight, as Bird in the 140 does pick up Knight.
There we go, nicely played. Vale's going to try and defend the 2 cap from Aggressor as he moves up on it.
And look at this, 1-2-3 has gotten into the backfield here, and he's going to be able to get a reset from behind. I don't think F7, excuse me, have any idea that he's here. This should be easy resets for him as he comes around. Now Spirit is looking for him, however, a great shot from 1-2-3, gets first shot, he looks for second one on the Vale, and that's a complete reset. And now he doesn't need to do anything else. However, the Batchats are going to push around into south, and they're going to find the easy overmatch onto Spirit, and another one should come out here onto Vale in just a second, and this is falling apart quickly for F7.
That it is. Well played from Dare. They understood. Just focus fire, keep that momentum going. They're taking a lot of damage here. They cannot afford to take, you know, they don't want to take too much damage trying to just get the engagement. A little bit of sneakier, intelligent play is going to work for them right now. And I like this, the crossfire. Someone somewhere on the map is able to get a shot on the guy.
Yeah, I like this out of Dare. It was a multi-part defense, multi-layer. But they used all their tanks to get to take control of that 1-2 line, so they didn't push into some sort of overmatch. Instead of just sending 2 tanks down there, they took everyone. So if, say, the whole team of F7 was down there, they didn't lose 2 tanks unnecessarily. If a brawl's going to happen, they were together and they could support. But once they took that position and they had tanks in that 1 line where they understood that they were pretty much in a perfect position to defend, they just turned around and left, and they went back and took control of the other side of the map with the other 5 guns. So they constantly made F7 keep having to guess and try to figure out where they were going to pop up next, and F7 just never seemed to be on the same page as Dare.
They definitely weren't. Dare was much faster, much more coordinated. I really like that. Yep. And they only lose 1 tank nationwide at the end of it.
Very, very finesse, very delicate. However, Dare played it pretty much perfectly.
I would agree. Now we're going to move on to mines, where, okay, so in order for F7 to come back into this series at all, they have to get some wins. But right now, I'm losing a lot of confidence because we're seeing Dare play just a little bit better in every place that F7 is. F7 is not doing terribly, but I'm getting the feeling like Dare is not quite as challenged by their opponent as F7 is challenged by Dare.
Yeah, and going into mines, which you just brought up, that is going to be Dare Rising having to defend. So their defense record has been near spotless, and look at all these fantasy points. Dark Ninja, 4K damage in that Batchat, 100 fantasy points, had a massive round. Harmless and Bird both doing pretty good. Bird picking up 4 kills, not bad at all. I called him out earlier for needing to step up maybe a little bit. He's been kind of quiet and doing what he needs to. Aggressor also putting up to their 41 fantasy points. Top damage dealer is Vale, the substitute for F7. Only able to get 2,200 off in that 113. However, I don't know that that was necessarily his fault.
That's for when you're on the losing side and you're the highest scorer and you're above other members in the other team. Like you can give some credit to the guy who did well.
He did his part. He did what he had to in the positions he was in. Made it work to the best of his ability. But
precisely, yeah.
You can't carry everything.
Yeah, there's only so much one person can do.
Yep.
There's only so many random ammo racks that are going to happen on a
Yeah, no matter how lucky you get.
Yeah.
There's 7 other tanks or 6 other tanks on the field, so even if you ammo rack 1, good luck.
Yeah. So we're getting into mines now, so focus on that. This is going to be defending Dare and attacking F7. Looking at the lineups, James, What do you think of that?
I see an E5, which sends some question marks up into the air. A mouse.
Red flags? Are they red flags?
More question marks. I'll get
Red
that in a second.
Okay.
3, 4 bad chats also coming out for F7. Dare coming in with a mouse. Type 5. PZ7 and 2 E4s, a bad chat, and a T100. Now, the reason why I say question marks is the E5. I feel like there are better tanks to choose for whatever role they're going to put it in. There typically is something better than an E5. An E5 is a jack of all trades, master of none. It is a tank that is the Swiss Army knife of World of Tanks. It kind of can be put into most situations and be fine.
That's why I've always liked it.
It hits for 400 alpha, not great, but good enough, fairly accurate. Works mobile, frontal armor is good, but it has these downsides, which is no side armor. The cupola on top of it is extremely weak after the nerf. Only 400 alpha, which is pretty low when you have tanks like the Mouse, the Type 5, the i7, and even the new 5A on the other field. It does have a little bit of gun depression over some of the other tanks, but not much, just an extra couple of degrees. So we'll have to see. If they deploy it up on the hill to kind of hold this ridge, it may work in this situation, but then you have to go, why not bring something like, say, a 5A or an i7, something that hold down's a little bit better, because that cupola is just so vulnerable, especially with all these guns that Dare have ready to poke at it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Is Spirit going to have the gun depression or no? Not gonna find anything.
Yeah, if it's just a gun depression thing, you have the Kronwagen is now a choice with better turret armor. You're gonna take a lot less damage. Does have a little bit lower DPM, but overall,
it doesn't matter as much. You're not ever really hitting optimal DPM in any competitive match because of the amount of time you're not gonna.
Exactly, especially when you're playing ridge poking games, poking over the top, which is why I think the Kronwagen would be a better choice. And it can't exactly reverse side scrape like he's trying to do in it right now. So
here's an idea. Why don't we take a listen with F7? Maybe they will tell us their answer. Maybe they will tell us why they have chosen to do this. So we're gonna go ahead, listen in with F7, see what they have to say.
Go out wide, boys. Come out here.
Also, they've had time to cross their batch safely.
I think one line is gonna get us massacred, honestly.
Like 5 is not looking.
There's the fucking. He's moving. Where's the Type 5 going? Or he's just going on the hill? He's just
Sitting
back
underneath.
E4 blinded. Hands are blinded. They're blinding right now.
Spirit, spot the Type 5 for me.
Yep. Moved. Not entirely sure where he is now.
Probably more to the 5 line, I think.
Did E3 get spotted?
No. They don't have an E3.
Oh.
E4.
Oh, ours. I'm retarded.
Anything, Spirit?
Not poking clicked. Oh, fuck.
Well, if he's not poking, it means I can get the boost clicked.
Well, he can poke enough, Echo. That's... Can you go click the other side, Spirit?
Let me get
to the other side of the rock.
Like,
yeah,
let me get to the rock, please.
What does the other side of the rock mean?
To the left side of the rock.
More west.
Okay, more west. More west, not east.
Yeah. So I said
His left.
Yeah.
Not
so
helpful.
I think he's like probably down there, maybe.
No, like.
No. Just like.
I tried this.
Like,
the tree fell. He's right there. He just shot at me. I'm spotted.
Okay.
Holy shit. Echo, I think I need to bait the shot from then you're going, okay?
I'm gonna start lighting him clicked. I know where he is.
I'm gonna get closer then.
Or not. I can't light that without getting you forward, I think.
But no.
Okay, you're ready, Echo?
He's right there. Yeah.
Don't go. No, hold. I'm gonna do it better.
That T100 will spot you guys.
He'll spot us early too.
There he is. Backed off. You can go, Echo, I think.
No. You ready, Echo?
Yeah.
I think we should cross our bad jets.
No, we
on
can't.
mine? They have so much stuff.
Hello? What?
200 is actually
We have 5.5 minutes. You have to fucking decide something.
Nice shot clicked. We do need to decide something here.
Okay, Type 5 might poke me a shot, Echo.
Let me know if we show me shoots.
I'm baiting it.
Just gotta keep moving up to get a shot at him.
Ready, ready, ready?
Yeah.
Ready, ready?
Then ready.
Go.
Fired.
Going.
To the path.
And you can see the plan they want to go for. Get clicked on is taking a lot of damage, and now zoned, pushing down the 9 line. At the same time, these bat jets are making this push down the 1. It looks like zoned is going for the boost. We'll see if he can get up there in one try this time. However, it doesn't look like it.
Nope.
Takes some damage, but the 1 line push is coming out. They're still not spotted right now. And now they're going to get spotted, but we'll have to see if guns are in position to get any damage off. Both of them have been turned, but a lot of damage. 750 going into 1. 356 going into another Veil, taking a lot of damage. They're trying to focus on Harmless. Halo's coming around. Another shot goes into Harmless.
Spirit.
They need to try to make this work.
Spirit may have the killing shot onto Harmless. Doesn't look like it this time. And that was a painful approach. Right now, F7 have left themselves with 7,000 hit points over the... Oh, even less. Okay, it's going to start dropping. 12k on the side of Dare, and advantage to the defenders right now. This is... It was a valiant effort, but that hurt a lot. And this is going to be very difficult.
No, Knight did pick up Harmless. There's still 6 tanks alive for F7, so they still have an extra gun that
but hit
Dare don't. But hit points, that is quite a big difference between the two right now.
And the armor on either team. There's a very much softer team on the side of F7, more likely to take damage, as opposed to Dare, more likely to actually bounce a few of these shells. And if you're Dare right now, it does look a little scary to be outnumbered, but you're not outmatched to a degree where your hit points and your armor can't save you. Dare should be fine. Dare should be absolutely fine. This would... F7 come up with clever solutions here. They could group up, but okay, never mind.
Type 5 doesn't care about your mouse armor.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Aggressor's going to pull forward, try to find a shot on to get clicked on. Lining it up, doesn't get the penetration though. Critical hit into the track.
Bounce. Yep. He's got a shot onto the PZ7 actually. Looks like he slings it out there. I don't know if he gets a hit. Nothing, it looks like. Or just going to wait for Aggressor, it looks like. So F7 right now has 3 tanks in the east and 2 bat chats out west. The HE right there for 256.
Type 5 doesn't care about your armor, silly E3.
No. And get clicked doesn't connect into Aggressor. That was a crucial shell that needed to connect.
And get clicked on is about to get clicked on by Nationwide. And actually Dirgil picks up the kill. Nice off angle there as E3 tried to turn to get a shot onto the Type 5. And 4 tanks left alive for F7, and this should be, at this point, a 5-2 victory in favor of Dare.
It's just a solid hold on the side of Dare. F7 went for an attack. It certainly could have worked. Based on the timing, I thought that Zoned taking as much fire as he did in the bat chat would have actually distracted more of the Dare defenders, but Dare was focused. They understood that just because a bat chat was off in the east didn't mean stop looking west.
Yeah, no, they got their guns on target very quickly. And even if some of those guns had turned towards the east, the E4, the PZ7, and one of the mice were all sitting there looking for that cross, as well as the bat chat and the T100, so they got all plenty of damage off on that 1-line push, which has never materialized. Now, I do have to say, I do like what F7 went for, the multi-layered push, trying to work the 9-line at the same time as the 1-line, split turrets, as well as tanks through the middle. However, just maybe too much.
Yeah, I agree. I see the same virtues in that move, right? It has a lot of things going for it. You're trying to distract your opponent, trying to throw them off their game, but ultimately the lineup that F7 brought wasn't able to also stand up.
Very similar for Himmelsdorf for me from that one round from F7. You can see what they're going for, the idea is right, but just a little bit of execution, bleeding some HP they shouldn't have.
Maybe some things about their tank lineup.
Some minor changes, some polish, and his Aggressor does pick up zone.
That was a stylish death and a stylish kill. I will give them points for that. Gold star.
Yep, and a good shot from Aggressor to pick up the kill, and now it's just all down to Spirit Walker in that E5, who, to be fair, did get some good damage off later in the game. However, I still stand by the fact I think they're just better tanks to bring than the E5 in its current state. For a while, it was definitely meta when the Commander's Hatch on it was buffed, and it was pretty strong. At the same patch where the mouse armor got buffed, the Copal on that got nerfed, and the combination of the two just made the E5, at this point, kind of irrelevant.
Yeah. But, well played by Spirit. Nationwide gets the final kill. And that's going to do it. That's it. Dare will win. That is a 5-2 victory. Who had the prediction? Was that you?
That was me.
That was you.
That was me. You had a 5-3, so you weren't too far off. We all picked right, and then you was the only one that thought this match would go to overtime. However, not materializing. Should be some pretty good fantasy points regardless, though. A 7-game series is pretty decent, especially with the matchups tonight. I see a lot of one-sided matchups. So.
Yeah, so if you picked anyone from Dare or, well, ideally from Dare, but if you picked up some F7 guys, they might have put the points
up. I think Spirit Walker will have some good points. I think Knight will also have some pretty consistent points over through the night. But we'll get to that in just a second as we watch the replays from this final battle. Zone just bleeding too much, trying to make this climb happen. All the tanks in the one line just going down for too much. Chase Potato ending up going down to the type 5 right here. Just a whole combination of things that just never materialized for F7. You can see the thought process, but it just didn't stand up to that defense with all those high alpha tank destroyers and heavy armor that Dare had.
I like that last kill. That Zone trying to go for the jump one more time just to die in a blaze of glory. And then that kind of over-the-shoulder Nationwide shot just kind of throws it back there.
And Nationwide having a very good game there. 112 fantasy points.
He actually broke 4K.
4K, not bad for a type 5. Definitely made quick work of some of those tanks. Durgel also putting up 2,700. 47 fantasy points. Nothing too spectacular fantasy point-wise, but has to do with the lineups both teams brought. F7 bringing a lot of batch ads and low HP tanks, where Dare was kind of the opposite, the heavy armor, a lot of HP tanks.
I think that was actually what gave a little more advantage to Dare. We've noticed that in the past. It doesn't matter what format you're in. If you're a little heavier than your opponent, more often than not, that becomes a factor.
Right.
It's pretty rare that a Batchat swarm is able to just run around a bunch of heavy tanks and just kill with impunity. Very often, at this level of skill, it's not going to just work.
Yeah, exactly. And as we move on to the post-match stats, coming up here, top fantasy point nationwide, 3,900 damage. Spirit Walker actually coming in second, 336. Then Aggressor, 337. Dark Ninja, 375. Milo Putin only putting up 293, a little bit low there, kind of a quiet match. Knight, however, his team did what they needed to do. Durgel on the
look
bottom.
at Knight. Look at Knight, though.
312.
Yeah.
321. Sorry, yeah. Very respectable coming out of Knight. Looks like he had a decent game, but Spirit Walker is still showing that he is so far the MVP of this team. For me, at least, at this point in the season, 3 matches in.
Yeah, he's doing great. We'll have to keep an eye on them and on F7 as they progress further and further through the season. I think we can say congratulations to Dare on a solid and well-played match. F7 is not a joke right now. They've come into the league and they've certainly shown that they have at least something worth paying attention to. They beat AM60s 5-2. Yep. And
they lost 5-1 versus Eclipse. And you do have to remember that Dare is basically the 3rd place team. So, you know, to be fair, I see your point, but, you know, they're not to be trifled with.
Exactly. And that's what it is. It's like Dare's solid. Like it's always hard to read how exactly good they are.
Yeah, well, let's find out exactly how good they think they are, because we're joined by the winners of Aggressor right now from Dare Rising for a winner's interview.
So how were you guys today? How was the Dare that showed up today, Aggressor?
The opening was kind of sloppy, but once we got our stuff together, we were in it.
Yeah, it seemed like back and forth at first, but once things got to the end of Himmelsdorf and into Sand River, you guys dominated. So tell us a little bit about Sand River, because that was nice to see.
They brought an Artie, so we knew what they were doing, and I mean, there's only so many things you can do with an Artie on Sand River. So basically, you just set up to play against it, and then on attack. I brought a lineup that I thought would work well against them, and it did.
Yeah.
So the round where you did catch the Artie off, because we actually kind of missed that, were you guys set up to try to catch the Artie fleeing, or was that more just by luck that he crossed the T100 and you got the spot on him and then he went down?
Well, there's one of 2 places the Artie could be. He could be in the back, right, which is where I would have probably kept him, or you have to get him across the map before the whole thing, our whole team collapses on him. They tried to get him out. And fortunately, one of our flank players caught him out and killed him. And that was a really good pick for us because we didn't have to worry about him late game.
Yeah, that made a huge...
Yeah, I mean, the strat that F7 ran that game pretty much relied upon that already still being alive to get the resets. And pretty much the second he went down, the whole team just felt like dominoes. Other than that, your defense on Mines holding out again for the 2nd week in a row. You guys seem to be pretty comfortable. I remember you guys liked that Mines defense last season and the season before. You were pretty comfortable on it. And it looks like some little changes have made, but overall it's kind of the same strats you guys have been running?
I mean, not the same. We like to do that Mines defense. I mean, of course, we do other ones, right? But that's everyone does that one now. Like that's everyone's strat.
Yeah, it's the go-to. And actually, that brings me to the PZ7. So that the PZ7 position, like we haven't talked a lot about the merits of it, but what do you think of that? Is that a tank for the exact position on the defensive side, or what's up?
That tank is like that tank design is like perfect for that spot because it's a little bit taller than all the IS-4, which would normally play there, so it could spot the island cross, which is really important.
All right. Well, any final thoughts for fans out there?
Thanks for watching, guys. I thought F7 played really good today. They caught me off guard on Cliff for sure. And hopefully we can get some more good games next week.
All right.
Or what is it? Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
Yes, Thursday.
Same time, same place.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Aggressor. We will see you on Thursday. All right, guys. Randall, any final thoughts for this first match?
No.